Hey, what's up, everybody? Coach Wells here. I just got out of a session with a client and I did a really neat activity that I actually would like for you guys to try. So, what I want you to do is grab a sheet of paper and a pencil or a pen. And while you're grabbing that, you can go ahead and pause the podcast while you had time to grab those things and then just hit play when you come back. So, what I did was I asked this client to write down all the thoughts that they have when it comes to the word fear. So they started writing things down, and I had them repeat the list back to me. So they're saying things like, you can't do it, it's too hard, you might embarrass yourself, you're an imposter, all these things that come when we think of the word fear. Now, what I want you guys to do is to do the exact same thing. And to help, I want you to imagine that fear is a person. And if this person were to come up to you, what type of things would they say to you? Then I want you to write these things down. So I had them write them all down. And then after they read them back to me, I asked them to do one simple thing for me. I asked them to rip up that sheet of paper. And I could hear them, ripping it and all that stuff because we were virtual. And then once we finished, I asked him, I said, how hard was it for you to rip up that sheet of paper? He was like, not hard at all. It was pretty easy. It's probably the easiest thing you told me to do throughout these sessions. And I was like, yeah, probably so. And then I asked him, I said, why do you think I had you do that? And he said, I don't know. And what I told him is that those thoughts that you have, as real as they may seem, they can't stop you from doing whatever it is that you want to do. Because if they could, they would have stopped you from ripping that paper. It's when we become intentional with what it is that we want to do that we develop the courage to actually follow through with the actions and the goals and the values that we set for ourselves in our life. If those thoughts were real, if they could really stop you, then they would have prevented themselves from being ripped up. Now, here's the golden nugget. And this is what I really want to hint and you guys to understand with this. After we ripped up that sheet of paper did not disappear. It was literally still right there. No matter how many pieces it was still there. And the idea behind that is that even though we're able to rip up these thoughts, it's not to say that they won't ever disappear. They will always be there. The thoughts of what if I don't pass? What if I fail? What if I make a mistake and I just embarrass myself? All these thoughts that we typically have here and there. Those thoughts, they will always be there, especially when you're trying to improve in certain aspects of your life. Because when we step outside of our comfort zone, we don't realize this. But the first zone we step in is that fear. It's that zone called fear. Because we step into something that's relatively new. Something that we've never, ever experienced. Me on this entrepreneurship journey, as you guys may know, about 4 months ago, I quit my job as a school counselor. And I stepped into this new territory called entrepreneurship. And you start to realize a lot of fees, they start to add up, whether it's fees for your insurance, fees for the websites that you use, fees for marketing, all those things. They start to add up. And for most, it can be quite scary. But for me, I understand that this is a step that I have to take in order to get to where I want to get to, which is a place where I'm helping thousands of people to overcome any fears that they may have. Just like I just did earlier today in the session with the young guy. Guys, your dreams are waiting for you. And you've been waiting to achieve those things probably for a long time. And I think what happens is that we think that we have to wait until we feel confident to actually go after these things. Where in actuality, you gain confidence from implementing the action steps that you and I know that you both should be implementing. So here's something that I want you guys to do. As you're having those fears, I want you to be taking steps in the right directions towards your goals. So I'll give you an example. If you're thinking of starting a business, I want you to come up with the name of that business while you're having those fears. While you have that business, I want you to start marketing it to customers that you think will benefit from your services while you're having those thoughts of no one will buy this. What I want you to do is to carry yourself like a millionaire, even though you may have $2 in the bank. Carry yourself, because it's from those actions, right? It's from those actions where we really start to develop that confidence. And if we wait until we feel confident to act, then it'll be too late. I'll give you another example. We all know back in the early 2000s, Steve Jobs came out with a great invention called the iPod, right? It was something that took the world by storm. It blew away CDs, it blew away MP3 players, it blew away cassette tapes, all those things. Now, if Steve Jobs would have waited until he was confident, until he was sure of how the market will respond to put out that product, he probably would have been waiting 10 plus years, maybe even longer. Could you imagine if someone came out with the iPod today? Would someone even buy it? Probably not, because we all know that we can listen to music on our phones. And there's a good chance if he waited 10, 20 years to put out the iPod, there's a good chance the iPhone would have never came about. Same thing with the iPad and the MacBook. So what I'm trying to say is that, guys, the longer you wait, the less likely you are to actually act on the things that you should be acting on. Those thoughts, hey, I have those too. And I still have those, right? I don't even know how you guys will respond to this podcast. Maybe you guys will hate it. Maybe you guys will love it. Whatever you do, just make sure you comment. I definitely would appreciate it. And hey, guys, at the end of the day, it's in you. I've never seen a fear ever stop someone from taking one step forward. If it did, it would have stopped that guy from ripping that sheet of the paper. Guys, thanks for checking out another episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed this, definitely comment, like, or even follow, so that way you can get more information in episodes like this. Also, I'm building a community. This community is called the Winner Circle Community. And what it is a platform where people can come to get information like this, but also they can hear from other therapists, motivational speakers, entrepreneurs, everybody that I think is basically able to give some type of value to you guys to help change your current circumstances in your life. So if you're looking to create change, if you're tired of waking up to the same old day, same old job, same old relationships, then check out thewinnercircle.com. And guys, again, thanks for joining this podcast.